Welcome to the Next Level Podcast with Brian Daniels. Ooh, boom shakalaka.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Brian Daniels, the host of The Next Level. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. I know we've been gone for about a month. Just took a break. Now we are back. This is episode 110. And joining me on this episode, we got my good buddy down there, up there in Indianapolis, Indiana, Big BS Bryce Schumacher. What's going on, Bryce?
What's happening, everybody?
Good to
The
be
break
back.
is over.
The break is over and we're back. We're back to work. And then,
Indeed.
of course, joining me for this episode is my podcast tag team partner, Josh Thundershaver. What's going on, Josh?
Ew. The song "Since You've Been Gone" by Weird Al Yankovic pops up. Since you've been gone,
By Weird Al.
love me some
So
Weird Al.
Weird-
I'm ready. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, man, it's good to be back. And just a few programming notes, guys. We are going to be once again at PopCon Indy next month in
Yeah.
June.
Woohoo!
And we're going to be there. That is going to be June 27th to the 29th. I'll be there all 3 days. But our podcast, this one in particular, is going to be that Sunday, the 29th at 11 a.m. at the PopCon Live podcast stage. You can also check out our other podcast, which is called A Bunch of Marks, our pro wrestling podcast that Josh and I do with our co-host Raven and Eric. Although I don't think
Yep.
Eric will be there, but it'll just be the three of us. So
Yeah,
that'll be
yeah.
on the 28th, that Saturday, also at 11 a.m. at the PopCon Live podcast stage. So thanks to PopCon for having us come back out. This is like, I think, our third year in a row now. We'll do the next level.
Yeah,
And second year we're doing A Bunch of Marks. So yeah, looking forward to that. We've had like Ming Chen on our show last time we were there.
Yeah.
2 years ago. It's 2 years ago when we were there. And you never know who might show up. You don't know. We don't know what we're talking about yet. But we'll get that figured out between now and then. But definitely be sure to go to popcon.us, get your tickets, passes, so you can hang out with us. Check out our podcast. Our other friends will be there as well. That we do podcasts. Like Big Don and Josh of the Stable. They do also the Established Facts. And I do believe Mike and Tabby Gray from Gray's Taproom Pod will also be at PopCon Indy that same weekend. So be sure to put that on your calendar. Go check that out. And we're going to do a sponsored ad real quick. We're going to talk about SeatGeek. SeatGeek is one of the nation's largest ticketing apps. You can download SeatGeek on your Android or iOS devices. And thanks to SeatGeek, you can save $20 on your very first purchase of $50 or more to tickets to concerts, sporting events such as basketball. The playoffs are going on right now. Baseball season is in full swing. Got
Pacers.
football season coming up. Also, you can get pro wrestling tickets there as well. And if you use our promo code, the domain GPCE10, you can save $20 on your very, very first purchase. Has to be your very first purchase, $50 or more. You can also go to SeatGeek.com and sign up, use that code, save some money, get those tickets today. You deserve it. All right, guys. So what we're going to be talking about today is, man, while we've been gone, the video game industry, I feel, is going to shambles. Okay.
In our absence, this has happened.
There has been
it's our fault.
Yeah, it's our fault. We left, and then there was no one to save the industry, and we leave. We take one break, right? We don't ever take breaks like this. We never take breaks for this long. We take one break, and the industry is just is getting fucked up. So it kind of started. We did touch on this a little bit in one of our last episodes we did, where we talked about the Nintendo Switch, right? Talked about Switch. We didn't really get too deep into it because we didn't really know the cost of the games, I don't think, at the time. But Switch 2 is going to have $80 games. It's going to have a $10 tech demo. It's also going to, as of a update recently, this was about a week ago, you are giving up. Nintendo now reserves the right to brick your console. What they claim is unauthorized use. They want to try to do this to prevent piracy of their games. They also claim that you are not allowed to modify or in any way, shape, or form a product that you have purchased with your hard-earned money. Okay. So I want to kind of talk about this because we've got some other things. This is not the only thing. All right. We're going to talk about. We got to talk about Nintendo because it kind of started with Nintendo. I think Nintendo was kind of the domino, right? They were the first one. They're like, we're going to do $8 games. Some people think that the Switch is
Yeah.
a little overpriced.
They're probably like,
Um,
we're Nintendo. We can do this without being canceled. You know what I mean? Completely. If some other company, maybe a smaller kind of company did it,
Yeah.
we'd all boycott the hell out of it. But Nintendo knows they can,
Yeah.
they've got the power.
Yeah. And I mean, not only that, but they're,
Nintendo
they
power.
have this new button, the C button, that is essentially a button you have to pay to use because the button they have even said that this won't even work if you don't have Nintendo Switch Online. And it's their game chat button. They're basically pulling like what was it, an Apple when they reintroduced the audio jack. Oh, look, you can actually plug in your headphones now. Like that's something you could never do before. So now they have
Yeah.
finally grown up and they're finally having a party chat, which has been on modern consoles for like the last 20 years now.
Right.
And so just like you do on PlayStation, just like you have done on Xbox for about 3 console generations now, 2 console generations now, something like that. Three, yeah.
Yeah.
You push a button on your controller, the big X button on your Xbox or the PS logo on the PlayStation, and it allows you to start a party chat. Well, Nintendo has like never had that. Literally has never had that on any console they've
Yeah.
had.
Sometimes I
And they're
think
like,
Nintendo just digs through like the scrap heap at Micro Center when they're trying to decide what hardware to throw in a console.
right. And so now they're like, "Ooh, look what we're doing. You've never heard of it. It's gonna blow your mind. We're introducing something called game chat. I know that's a massive, huge thing. While the rest of us are like, bro, we've been doing this since like the Xbox 360. Okay, like we've been doing this
Yeah.
3 generations now, right? This is not new. This ain't new technology.
God.
And of course, there's a button. That button is going to be rendered useless because you're basically going to have to pay for that. Now, unlike the other 2 buttons, where the Xbox button is not solely for having a party chat.
Right.
That button is brings up your home screen. You can do all kinds of things just like you can on the Sony console, right?
It's
So this
it's
button,
it's kind of like when you get a car with OnStar and then don't pay for the subscription.
Right.
Do
right,
not
right,
fucking touch that button.
or
I
it's
mean,
kind of
they
like the
could.
Sirius XM button on the radio, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't have opted for Bluetooth instead of
Right.
a aux cord, or
No idea.
3.5 jack.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's
come
so
on,
weird.
where are we at?
So what they've decided to do is on top of all that BS, they want you to pay $80 for a kart racing game, which is essentially Mario Kart with Forza, and they called it Mario Kart World. And a lot of people thought that there was going to be way more to this game. It had its own direct. Come to find out, nope, that's it. You're just driving around a massive map, and it's $80,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous.
Now we're
No,
only a few weeks away from release, right? It's supposed to come out in June.
it comes out in June. We are, I think, about less than a month away, which
Yeah.
is wild to me.
Yeah.
And of course, people bought it foolishly. I don't care who it was. I know we know people that have bought it.
Not me.
Did
I
they
didn't.
ever bring the pre-orders back in US?
They
I
did. They
know it
brought
got
pre-orders
delayed.
back. They did. They brought them back about a week or so ago, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And all the pre-orders sold out because people just want to have. Here's the thing, man.
Well,
I
they
get
wanna
there's
scalp it.
FOMO. There's
They're gonna
fear of
scalp.
missing out. Scalpers bought it mostly.
Yeah. Yes.
For me, it's here's the thing. When is enough for gamers, right? What have gamers given up? We have given up. Here it all started when we allowed the video game companies to tell us we have to pay to play online.
Fact.
We already pay for internet, right? We already pay to be online. So
Right.
we gave in paying for Xbox Live, paying for PlayStation Plus to actually have to be able to play with other people. There's this thing called a PC. Maybe you've heard of one, and you don't have to do that. You can go on and play these games, and you never have to pay a fee just to play. Now, unless it's like a MMORPG like World of Warcraft, that has a subscription fee. That's
Right.
different. But a lot of games, like Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA Online, you don't have to pay a subscription
Call of
fee to play
Duty.
those games on PC. Call of Duty, you don't have to
Fortnite.
pay a subscription fee to play those games online. Now, when Xbox got this bright idea, because they were one of the first ones to do this, right? And they invented Xbox Live, they're like, oh, you know what? We're going to make these people pay to play online and essentially make them pay for the internet twice. And people didn't care. People said, let's do it. I'm guilty of it. I'm sure we all are. We do this. It's just what we do now, right?
Yeah.
And then it just kind of seemed like ever since then, gamers have been kind of giving up more and more things. We had DLC, right? Big deal. I remember when DLC first started. Big deal. People were like, wait, what? I gotta pay for more content on a console game? That's stupid. And then we had day one DLC. Then we got microtransactions. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we've got season passes, battle passes. If you don't see a pattern here, those of you that are listening, it's because that the video game industry has become more and more and more greedy as the decades have went by. And now we're in a
forget about them telling us that we don't actually own the games anymore.
that's right. And now we're getting to
for
an age of
to
where physical media is going away. It's everything's mostly we're going mostly towards digital media. I mean, being a PC gamer, you've already that's a thing, right? There really is no physical media in PC, right? Most people who have a PC play all of their games off of Steam. I know that's me. I think it's Steam, and Epic Games are the two big ones now.
Right.
You don't own physical games anymore. I remember when we could. I remember. I mean, I know you guys are old enough to remember this too. I remember when you could go to Chong's Boutique, okay, and they actually had a section of PC games in a box. You guys remember that? I know I'm not the only one that remembers that.
Yeah, I still have
And
a few physical PC
Yes,
games.
yes. I
StarCraft
remember,
1,
yes.
StarCraft 2, Rise of
Yep.
Nation,
Yeah.
Heroes of
Yeah.
Might and Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is one of my all-time favorite PC games.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a great fucking game.
It's so good.
So of course now they don't do that anymore, unless it's like a collector's edition, right?
Yeah.
And even then, you don't get a disc. I mean, hell, most PCs don't even have a disc drive. Like the laptop I
Not
have right
anymore.
now that we're recording this show on has no disc drive, right?
Right.
That's just where we're at. And I feel it's funny now when I hear console gamers complain, oh, physical media. But it's like, where have you been? We have MP3 players now that play music. I mean, how many people do you see carry a Walkman or a CD player? You don't, right? You just don't.
Yeah, throw it on your phone.
Vinyl has been kind of repopularized again, and that's kind of its own niche thing. But I don't see a bunch of people lined up, especially young people, younger than us, lined up holding vinyl records, at a Target to buy them. So I mean, physical media, I think for console gamers, they're pretending like digital or physical media has just started to go away. No, this has been going away for a long time, for a very long
it really has.
right? Granted, you can still go. I mean, look at Best Buy. They got rid of their entire physical movie section, right?
They did, yeah.
The best. It was. I remember a time going into a Best Buy and they had 4 rows of CDs, 3 rows of movies, and now that's like non-existent, gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Nothing.
So what I want to know is why, and maybe you guys can help me. Why is it so important for video games to have to be physical media when physical media, for the most part, in other instances, are pretty gone? To me, I like physical media. I'm not saying like that it shouldn't exist, but at the end of the day, I kind of have to limit what I have in my house,
Right.
and I think digital media gives me better ability to have a collection, but it not be taking up a lot of space in my house,
Right.
physically in my house.
The thing
I
like
respect that,
with physical media is, it used to mean that you owned it and you can just put it in and play it.
Right.
That's gone even with physical media and video games today.
Yeah.
Like you install it and then you never put the disc back in. You know what I mean? Or you do
yeah.
it just to read
Yeah.
the license right. So
Well, it's just like
before it was like, with like Nintendo, you put that game in, you're going to play.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But and I still like having physical things as far as like movies and music go, because there's those times when the internet isn't working, or like say you move and you haven't transferred the internet yet. You still have those physical things that you can put in and watch and listen to. Whereas if you did that with a video game today and you didn't have the internet, you still wouldn't be able to play it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Movies and
I
music, you
think,
can still at least watch and listen to the full thing,
yeah,
unbothered by
I
an
think
internet
that
connection.
with all consoles now and gaming for the most part being pretty much exclusively like you have to be online, right?
Yeah.
Is that safe to say? Like you gotta be online to play any game now, right? So I think a lot of people when they're like, man, I don't want physical media to go away. I respect that. Like I get that, right? But at the same time, it's like, but you don't even own your stuff now. Like you realize that even when you put that disc in and you get that feel good feeling of putting in a disc, okay?
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. I will even admit that's kind of a cool aesthetic, right? It's popping that disc in. And I don't do it often because most of my games are all digital.
Yeah, yeah.
Most of my games are all
My
digital now.
PS5 is all digital.
Yeah. So
Unless I'm playing on the Switch, then I have a few physical ones
sure,
there.
sure.
Yeah.
But I think people fail to realize is okay, you can put that disc in, but your console is still connected. They could, if they wanted to, make it so that your disc don't play.
Right.
If they wanted to, right?
Yeah.
They could if they wanted to do that.
If
So
you
what's
abuse some terms of service or something like that.
so what's scary about this Nintendo deal is we're getting into a territory that I don't think we've seen before in the realm of video games, where a company, I'm gonna read this to you guys and
Yeah.
we'll break it down. This is within the terms of the EULA as it's called, but this says without limitation, you agree that you may not publish, copy, modify, reverse engineer, lease, rent, decompile, disassemble, distribute, offer, or for sale, or create derivative works of any portion of the Nintendo account services, bypass, modify, decrypt. I like this one. This is my favorite one. Defeat, tamper with, or otherwise circumvent any of the functions or protections of the Nintendo account services, including through the use of any hardware or software that would cause the Nintendo account services to operate other than in accordance with its documentation and extended use. Obtain, install, or use any unauthorized copies of Nintendo account services or exploit the Nintendo account services in any manner other than to use them in accordance with the applicable documentation and intended use in each case without Nintendo's written consent or express authorization, or unless otherwise expressly permitted by applicable law. You acknowledge that if you fail to comply, this is the part right here that it gets me. You acknowledge that if you fail to comply with the foregoing restrictions, Nintendo may render the Nintendo account services. So that's your account, right? That's your
Yeah.
that would be like your PS Plus, your Xbox Live. They can either render the Nintendo account services and or this is the part that I hate. The applicable Nintendo device. So that would be your actual Switch, your console. Permanently unusable in whole or in part. What that means is
Permanent.
so there was a time when you could get your account banned, right? Like if you hacked it or you whatever. Okay, sure, ban my account. Fine. I get it. I wasn't going to have my Switch online anyway, right? Now they're saying that if they figure out that you're doing that, not only are they going to ban your Nintendo Switch Online account,
Yeah.
they're going to make it so you can't even use your fucking $500 console you bought.
Yep.
How we feel?
No more.
How we feel about that one?
Yeah, you
Somebody.
can't even trade it in or anything, I guess, right?
Uh-uh.
I mean that's just another step in, Nintendo has always been a big anti-modding, anti-piracy,
They're very
anti-emulator.
They're anti-consumer.
They want everything to stay tight to their brand and their ownership, so they get every dollar they can out of it.
For sure.
So I guess if anybody's going to do it, it doesn't surprise me. Nintendo's the one. They've always been real tight about their IPs and hardware and stuff.
Right.
And I guess they're having a bigger problem with it than Sony or Microsoft. Because of how tight their properties are, their IPs are.
Right.
So maybe they just have a bigger problem with it than the other companies, and that's why they decide to go after it, because maybe they are seeing a significant loss somewhere in the line. But obviously, as a consumer, it sucks. It's like, why would I? But for me, it's like I'm not really a modder. I'm not gonna, I don't ever mod my systems or anything, so that wouldn't worry me.
Sure.
But if you are, it's gonna definitely deter you from buying it.
Yeah.
Josh, what do you think about this new piece of their terms of service?
This new
The abilities
terms
for
of
them
service.
to the ability for them to basically for their reasons
Yeah.
make your make
So
your make your $500 console defective and not work. You won't be able to use
so
it at
on
all or anything.
on one side, I agree with Bryce.
Uh-huh.
It's like, yeah, Nintendo, I'm not surprised. It's kind of like if anyone was gonna take their toys and go home, it's Nintendo.
Yeah.
Um, but on the other hand, like the stuff that they don't want you doing is really just kind of like there are other devices that will accomplish the same thing nowadays. We've got
Yeah.
all sorts of different Steam Decks and Steam Deck clones and
Right.
knockoffs and all sorts of stuff. You don't necessarily need the Switch as a handheld console with a screen in it. You can do that with other stuff. So if that's
Right.
what you really want to do with your time and effort and money and stuff, get one of those.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, because I mean,
if
eventually you'll be able to, emulate, switch two
Yeah.
games on a Steam Deck.
yeah,
I think the reason
absolutely. But it's just one of those things where it's like it kind of sucks, but they do have a point. Like all of the reasons that they're going to break you for, you shouldn't be doing. I guess is my point.
I think that this can set a bad precedent. I think
No, I agree.
that we're getting into some
Yeah.
muddy
Well, because
waters,
of course
right?
every system doesn't work perfectly, so there's going to be somebody that gets bricked for that shouldn't have. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It happens even today with people getting their accounts banned on like
Yeah.
Xbox or Sony or
Yeah.
PlayStation, and they lose their entire gaming library over something pretty petty.
Mhm.
Like I think somebody like took a clip from like Baldur's Gate, during one of the sex scenes. They put and so Xbox will automatically post a clip or screenshot you take to your like feed, and so but that type of material breaks the terms of service, so people were getting their accounts banned for clipping those scenes and having an auto post,
Oh wow.
Mhm.
losing all their entire library over something like that. It's like
Yeah. I mean, and what if there's something you accidentally do?
right,
Are you going to be able to? How do you challenge that? How do you?
right.
I mean, I get.
You got to get
Here's
a hold of the
here's what
media
cra-
somehow, get the news,
so here's
report.
what cracks me up about Nintendo and their piracy, because I know they're trying to effectively be anti-piracy, right? And I get it to an extent. I will say this: you want to not people have not pirate your games, but then you have this problem with these game key cards, which we haven't talked about, where
Right.
the entire game isn't even on the thing. And from my knowledge and what I've looked at is it's so you put this key card in your Switch and it has like not even 100, I guess, megabytes of information. It's just enough to know that like it's there. And then I guess what happens is like it lets the console know that you own it and then it downloads the game,
Right.
which is weird to
So when
me because
when
you're
you buy
not
a physical game, you still have to download it.
so, and that's not for all the games, right? But to me,
Well,
that's
that's good
like
at least.
that's weird because I'm not owning the game. I don't feel like I'm owning it. I feel
Yeah.
Right.
like I'm owning
You're
paths
just
to
giving
play the
me
game.
a shell of it in a case. Like,
Yeah, and I feel like that's such a waste of money. Like
yeah,
that feels like to me more of a waste of money. If then why don't you just make some of your games all digital then? Where you don't like why spend all that money to print off boxes and cards that don't even have the game on it when they're gonna have to download it? If you're gonna have to download the damn game anyway, then just cut out the extra cost and
Yeah.
make these games only as digital purchases.
unless it
Like,
enables me to play it physically offline, like say I can't get online to play a digital game.
no, you have to be online.
If right, so I mean that's the only
Yeah,
reason I would
that's the
see
only shitty part.
if they did that.
Yeah,
If like that's the
yeah.
only thing, like let me play offline with this. But even then, it's still not an option.
I just don't like this precedent. I think we're getting into some muddy
No,
waters.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, I am not. I understand on a business standpoint, you don't want people pirating your games, fine. But when you're giving people reasons to do that with these game cards, where people, because there's that saying, if
And then the prices.
um, what is it? If piracy isn't stealing, what was it? piracy isn't there's a phrase people like to say.
Then something isn't ownership, or if something isn't ownership, then pirate. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember what it is, but something to do with like ownership and piracy. If buying it and owning or having a physical copy isn't ownership, then
I think it's if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing.
Right.
Yeah, if buying isn't owning, piracy isn't stealing. Right? Because how are you stealing something if you can't own it anyway? If I can never own a thing, am I really stealing the thing? So once again, make it very clear. I'm not saying go steal games. Please don't take that as that way. I'm not saying that. I'm suggesting that. I'm just sitting here thinking like how you've given me another reason to not buy a Switch. I'm not buying a Switch 2.
It just
But
seems
I'm
with
not.
every
But this
generation of
is
gaming,
terrible.
we get more and more restrictions on our ownership of the actual game, or less
Yeah.
less rights to the game, and just a big old long contract that says, you don't actually own this game, but you can play it.
Yeah, those big long contracts you just
as long as our servers are still running. It's like, so imagine like, for whatever reason, if Steam decides they're closing up shop, then
yeah.
you have no way to access anything you purchased anymore, unless they come up with some kind of plan to migrate it to something else if they're getting bought out. But just say they went completely bankrupt, shut all the doors out of nowhere, you're not going to have access to anything.
Yeah. And not only that, but people like to mod their I mean, how people mod their consoles? I remember modding I remember people I had friends who would mod their Xbox OG.
I've never done it,
right?
but I know a lot. I knew tons of people that had modded Xboxes, GameCubes, Wii's, everything.
Not only that, but
jailbreak
there
it
is
so you can play anything on it.
There's one other thing that Nintendo added to their agreement. Nintendo, and this comes from hothardware.com. It says that's hothardware.com. It says, of course, that's not the only controversial part of their new licensing agreement. Nintendo is now specifically requiring users that users now waive their right to file a class action lawsuit against the publisher. And they have to instead enter arbitration. So yeah.
Nice. Some more of that cover your ass type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's shady as fuck.
It sucks because, man, I grew up with Nintendo. Nintendo's my childhood. I think of Mario as my childhood. And this is kind of why I like Sonic the Hedgehog more. It's just that damn plumber is becoming a little greedy bastard more and more. So
right.
Yes.
That's Nintendo. I'm not here's the thing. I am not buying a Switch 2. I'm challenging our audience. Don't buy a Switch 2. Here's the thing. Here's how this works, okay? You can't complain about anything in an industry that you participate in. And this goes for any industry. Like if you're going to sit there and bitch about the prices going up and then you buy them, then you don't get to bitch about it. You can't sit there and complain. Change does not happen if you continue to give a company your money and then want change. They're not going to change.
Yeah.
They're just not. Like, do I think the Switch 2 is kind of neat? Sure. Do I think the Switch 2 is a little overpriced, gimmicky as fuck console? Absolutely. Like, yes. I sat there, I was watching the other day, I think it was like GameSpot or something. They were talking about the mouse. Oh, it's so cool, the mouse. I'm like, nobody's going to use that shit. Who's going to, okay. They were showing like them playing Metroid Prime 4, and you're using the mouse controller, the controller's mouse functionality to like you would on a PC to point and click and shoot for better aim, right? Which it is better aim. If you've ever played a first person shooter on PC, aiming with the mouse is the way to aim, right? It's not the same at all as a controller when you can just point and shoot. And I'm just sitting there and I'm watching this dude and he's playing it. And he's sitting on his couch with a big fucking board on his lap. And I'm like, no one's gonna fucking do that at home. You're not gonna want to come home from a hard day of work and then get a goddamn cardboard box and put on your fucking lap to play Metroid. Nobody wants no.
Right.
The practicality of this mouse functionality is like, as someone who has used PCs to produce and things, and has had to, I've got two screens, I'm using multiple programs for editing and stuff. You want your mouse to be on as smooth of a surface as possible. I'm not going to sit here while I'm editing a thing, or even playing like Valorant on my PC, for instance, is
Right.
game. I'm not going to sit and put the mouse on my fucking shorts, on my whatever pants I'm wearing, because it's not smooth. So are they going to sell, is Nintendo going to sell some stupid ass special mouse board? That looks dumb. Like just go find it. There's a video, I swear, there's a video out there
possible.
where a guy is sitting with his board on his lap. And I'm like, that's too much, man. I don't
Yeah.
want to do too much. That was kind of my thing with the Wii, was all this motion. I'm like, man, at the end of a hard day, I don't want to come home and be like standing in front of a TV doing all dumb motion shit. I mean, it's cool, but like, come on. I just want to sit, my controller in my hand, fucking play a game. So I think the mouse functionality is just a ridiculous gimmick.
I mean, that's
The
And,
only thing that it made sense for me was because they did show off Civilization 7 on the Switch
but you
too.
still
So
gotta
I was like,
sit there
okay,
and like,
at least I can use a mouse for that. You know what I mean? Because playing that type of game on a regular controller kind of sucks.
yeah. But for me, it's the setup. How practical is it in use?
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'm not gonna sit there. I think I would as much as I would like to play Civ. If I'm
Well,
gonna
especially if
play
they,
Civ on a mouse,
I mean,
it'd probably be
especially
on
if they're
PC
marketing
anyway.
it as a kind of a mobile console as well. You know,
Yeah, and how
where
you
you
supposed
can
to do
play
that
on the
mobile?
go.
How you
Right.
supposed
It's
to do
like I'm
that
not gonna do
mobily?
that on the subway. You know what I mean? And
Fuck no, you're not gonna use your
pull out the
mouse on the
mouse.
subway. Yeah. So for me, I'm not buying a Switch 2 because of that. Because of the $80 price tag of. Here's the thing. I was talking with Raven. We watched the GTA 6 trailer. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's move away from Nintendo.
Absolutely.
GTA 6 trailer. We got trailer 2 came out last week. I want to just say first off, holy fucking shit. These
Balls.
graphics
Looks
are
beautiful, man.
insane.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know for sure if this is just like the CGI, if this is like a movie, if
No,
this
a
actual
lot of that looked
gameplay.
like in game, yeah,
But
like
man,
kind of, you know how they cut scenes from like the cutscene will just camera in right behind you, and then
yeah.
the widescreen will go away, and then now you're in the game,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
You had
It
the one
seemed
thing
like
I
a lot
noticed.
of that.
The one thing I kept noticing was like the beer bottles. The beer in the bottles would like move around, and then there was a part where there was fizz from the alcohol bubbling. I was like,
Nice.
damn, that's like insane detail.
Yeah, it's hard to
Right.
do that too. It's like every time you see that in a video game,
Yeah.
it kind of looks
And then
like
they
crap.
showed that chick with the dress, the gold dress, and her ass moving.
Right.
And the ass physics were
booty
great,
jiggle
but like
physics
the fact that her dress was kind of moving when she was moving,
and
like
reflecting and
actual
stuff,
material.
all
Yeah,
the
that was
lighting
kind of
and
neat.
everything.
But
Yeah.
damn, this game looks good.
Getting closer to that uncanny valley every day, man.
It's crazy. And for
Just all
me,
the
it's
different landscapes, the city, the swamps,
yeah.
like
It looked like Raven said it looked like a movie. She's like, this is like
yeah,
a
it
movie
is.
now. We're
It
playing a
does
movie
at
now.
the very beginning of it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
When it's like,
Yeah.
Do you guys think that this will be a $100 game
I mean,
after watching the trailer?
the
$100 game.
after just a
I
base
hope not.
or not a deluxe version?
Yeah.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Yeah.
Would
you pay
such a big jump from the last one?
Yeah.
I mean, 60 or 70 bucks. I could see 80 for sure.
Do you think
100 for some deluxe
that
version of
this
it or whatever.
justifies an $80 game price just for the base
yeah.
game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's took
Yeah.
mean, what, over 10 years to get going?
Yeah.
I mean
would
once
you
we
guys
see it
pay
in
80 bucks
action,
for this game? Would you pay 80 bucks for it?
for sure.
No.
I mean, I'll probably get
Oh,
the
Josh
collector's edition. Just because I've got GTA 4 and GTA 5 like physical
Yeah.
collector edition.
Yeah.
So if there is some kind of package like that, I'll probably get
There
that.
will be.
Yeah. I'm
Josh,
wondering
you said
which one
no.
really-
No.
Why will you not pay 80 bucks for GTA 6?
Because honestly, it should be probably just free to play, honestly, because people are going to put so much money into that.
It ain't going to be
think
free to
about-
play, I'll tell you that.
Think about how much money people
The
spend
story
on
won't
GTA
be.
5 on Shark Bucks or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
The story
yeah.
won't be.
yeah, sell the
Yeah.
campaign, but online should be free to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what
Josh, why
everything
would you
does,
not
and they
pay 80
make the
bucks for
money.
this game?
Fuck $80 for any game.
Gotcha.
I
You'll
get
buy
that,
it.
like,
You'll buy it.
if I had to pay $80 for a game, it would probably be some long, lasting masterpiece that's gonna end up being GTA 6. Like that's probably one of the games that I
Yeah.
could justify.
Yeah.
Am I going to? No, fuck no.
Yeah.
Um, if
See,
we don't, I'm being brutally honest, so feel free to edit this part out. If we don't get a review copy, and if you don't get it, I'm probably not gonna play it
ah,
for a good five,
ha,
6 years.
ha, ha, ha.
You know what I'm
For
saying?
me,
Like,
it's here's where I have a hard time
yeah,
because Mario Kart World Tour does not look like a game I would pay even $70 for.
Right.
It just looks like Mario Kart 8 but bigger. Honestly,
Yeah.
better graphics, fine.
Yeah.
The reason why I
don't need
struggle
it.
with this,
HDR.
the reason why I struggle with pricing, because I'm not a big fan of variable pricing. I know Nintendo's like, variable pricing, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have variable spending then because I won't be buying all your shit. Like that's
Yeah.
that, right? I mean, we've had some pretty banger games come out recently. I'm playing Doom: The Dark Ages right now. I'm about a quarter of the
Nice.
way in. Um, I think it's a $60 game. You sure? But it's on Game Pass, right? So it's
Right.
it's part of the subscription. I'm not gonna say free, but it's part of the, I don't have to pay. I don't have to pay the full retail price of the game. We'll put it that way. So for me, it's Doom: The Dark Ages is a fantastic fucking game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I think
haven't tried it
it's the
yet, but
best.
it looks great. I've been hyped
I think
for
it's
it.
the best Doom game of all time. I liked it better than Doom Eternal. I loved it way more than the first Doom game of the
Okay.
recent ones. And I can't put it down. I had a hard time putting it down just to come in here and do the show with you guys. It's that good.
I mean, hell yeah.
I just finished playing what's going to be my game of the year, which is Expedition 33.
Nice.
And that's only a $50 game. I don't even normally like turn-based games, and that's my game of the year. Easy.
Okay.
Easy. The thing about that game is, now I will say it's definitely game of the year because GTA 6 isn't coming out, right?
Right.
But I have a few more thoughts I'm going to express about GTA 6 in a minute. But this game, its story draws you in. If you don't know what this game is about, it's basically about this city called Lumiere, and for a very long time they've had this thing called the Monolith, which it's on what's called the continent. It's on this it's far across the ocean from Lumiere, which is kind of like the game's version of Paris, France. We'll put it that way. And the team that made this game is a team of former Ubisoft employees that are all French. So it's kind of like that. So the game is about this monolith that they can all see across the ocean on the continent, and there's this creature, this being called the Paintress, and every year she paints a brand new number on the monolith. So the game starts off, it says 34. Well, when the Paintress changes the number to 33, all of the people that are 34, they have what's called the gamage, and they basically all die. They all vanish.
Oh.
And so the reason why it's called Expedition 33 is because they have an expedition for whatever number is on the monolith. So you are Expedition 33, and your goal is to essentially try to take out the Paintress so that people don't die anymore. Now that's all I'm going to tell you, because there's a lot in this game. This story is beautifully well written, like front to back. When you think the game is over, it is actually far from over. All right. Like I had put like 27 hours in, and I got to what I thought was the final boss fight.
Right.
And it just ended up opening up an entire whole other thing.
That pisses me off.
Right.
That kind of stuff right there pisses me off.
No, I love that shit because these are characters. Unlike a lot of other games that do that, and you're like, man, this shit, like I want this to end. These are all characters you're going to care about. These are all characters you're going to care about. You're going to cry. There's a lot of sadness in this game. There's a lot of story. It's kind of like if Hideo Kojima made an RPG. Like there's so much going on.
Okay.
It's a good time. The turn-based combat, like I said, I've never really gotten turn-based. Right? Never. I'm more of a hack and slash RPG guy. That's me. This is probably my favorite Up there with probably Final Fantasy VII as my favorite RPG, turn-based JRPG of all
Oh
time.
wow.
It's that fucking
Pulling
good.
out Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, and so what's
Them.
great is each character is kind of like its own class. That'd be like the best way to put it, right? And when it's their turn, they all have their unique abilities. It's not like Final Fantasy VII where like, okay, Cloud has a Buster Sword and Tifa has her knuckles. No. It's like most of the time you probably won't even be using the weapon they have because they have so many abilities they can do. And then not only that, but it has a parry system. So kind of like the way I kind of put it, like the way I put it is, if you liked Paper Mario, you know, like when the guy would jump on you, and you have to like time it, you know, to
Right.
block.
Right.
It has that same system,
Nice.
and it's it's kind of difficult. The good thing is, it is a Souls-like game, but it has difficulty options. I'm like, thank God. I'm not trying to get that
Right.
mad. And there are some sections where there's some hard boss fights, but the game can be kind of forgiving. You can parry attacks, you can dodge attacks. There's even you'll as you play the game, you unlock. Oh my God, it's insane. And there's these things called Pictos. And what's cool is like if you equip a Picto, you only get to 3 Pictos to equip. But once you win 4 battles with your Pictos equipped, then guess what? The rest of your team can equip them too without using one of the 3 slots on their character. So I mean, you can have your like by the end of the game, Mayel, one of the characters in the game, I could one hit any boss in the game and kill it.
Okay.
And do like 4 million damage. Yeah.
4 million
And it's
damage.
just and it's right. And it's just depends on how you set up. This is actually one of those games where I was like, is it really done? Are we really done now? And you know, the game was over. And there's still shit I haven't done because the end game is huge. There's so much to do. The world is great. I love the characters. There were a few things in story that I was like, no, why'd you have to do that? Great fucking game. I highly recommend. I don't think any game's gonna top it for me. And
It's
I've already
installed on
played.
I just haven't touched it yet.
And I've already played KCD 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Mm-hmm.
I played it. I didn't beat it. I've liked it, but I'm sorry. Not that that's a bad game. It's definitely not a bad game. I know Bryce knows that. But Expedition 33 to me blows that out of the water.
Right.
I don't see any game coming out the rest of this year that's going to top that game. That's my game of the year. I'm telling you, I think that's going to win awards, man.
I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah.
I was seeing a lot of people talk about Blueprints being like a potential game of the year. I haven't touched that, but I know you touched that.
That's a weird one. That's a weird one. I think I streamed that for a little bit on our Twitch.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. I like puzzle games, but dude, it's got like escape room puzzle vibes, and it gets to the point where like it gets kind of frustrating.
Right.
And as I get older, which I just turned 41 the other day, as I'm getting older, I'm like, I really don't want to do this anymore, you know?
Right.
I'm an easy mode for life guy now. That's me. I'm like, fuck.
Give me the fun stuff.
I had my time of playing hard,
my dude.
Like, bro, I grew up in NES era. I played all my games were fucking hard. So like now, you know what I'm saying? Like as I get older, I'm like, now it's time for my games to be fucking easy. All right, like I ain't doing this hard ass shit.
I did that for long enough.
But I mean, that's what
when I grew up, every game was hard.
Right. But now, but what I'm getting at is like, you know, we got so many great games that are not expensive, right?
Oh yeah.
Like these games are not 80, 90, 100 fucking dollars. And for me, it's hard to believe your game really that good. That's $80. Probably not. And I've seen Mario Kart World. I don't even care if I had it in my hand. I'd probably enjoy it. I love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I have it on Switch. It's a fun fucking game. I just don't play a lot of Mario Kart anymore. Not like I used to when I was younger. And I watched this and I'm like, where is the extra? Because, you know, now games are almost $70 now all the time, right? So I'm like, okay, we just had a price increase of 70 for a lot of games. Where is this extra 10 now? I don't see it. I just,
right.
To me,
and
I don't.
Especially when you think about how everything's digital, most of it is now.
Yeah.
That's, you know, less production cost by not having to print, ship, and pack physical, you know.
I mean, yeah.
So where's the break there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We should be seeing a break.
Yeah.
You know, fucking
Well,
bring it back down to
I
50.
mean, consoles are supposed to get cheaper when they get older too, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, didn't that, yeah, but Xbox just raised
Which,
their price.
which,
I heard
right,
right.
which brings us to the next topic. So we had, I'd say we've been gone for a month, and man, the gaming industry just was like, well, okay, if you got something to talk about when you come back. So the beginning of the month, Microsoft decided they're going to raise their prices, unlike everything, even their console. So the Xbox Series S 512 gigabyte was $300, and it went up to $379. So we're talking like $400 after tax. The Xbox Series S 1 terabyte was $350, and now it is $430. So you're looking at about $450 after taxes in America. The Xbox Series X digital only console was $450, and now it's $550. The
Woo!
Xbox Series X, what I have in my living room that I play all the time,
Looking at it right now.
went up in value. $500 before, it is now $600. Ridiculous. And then the
Right.
Xbox, this is the one that I'm just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. The Xbox Series X 2 terabyte went from $600, guys, to $740. Yeah. Now, a lot of people are suggesting this could have to do with the tariffs. Now, we haven't mentioned the
I
word
mean,
yet, right?
the T word.
But tariffs are a thing, and that's because the president has decided that he's going to jack up and tariff the shit out of all these countries, including Vietnam and China, where most of our consoles are produced and manufactured. Okay. Um, Now, this is a quote from Xbox. This is from Forbes. We understand these changes are challenging. Challenging is an understatement. They were made with, they say, careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen and ensure value for Xbox players. My question to this is rising cost of development.
Right.
How did it get more expensive to build the same fucking thing that you sold cheaper 5 years ago? Like, help me understand. Like what? Because we all have come to know and have an agreement on anything we pretty much buy. Sometimes tends to go down in value. The only time it goes
Right.
up in value is if it's like retro, right? Like a lot of retro games go up by, right?
Right.
But here,
small amount of
this is a console that's the same console. We don't even have a mid console refresh. We don't have an Xbox Pro, right? We don't have, unlike PlayStation, they put out that overly stupid priced PS5 Pro, which you have to buy a disk drive separate, which after you pay for everything, you're probably spending like $1,000 on it, right? Just get yourself a damn PC at that point. Xbox said, no, we're not doing that. This makes me wonder if that's why they didn't do it because of this right here. Maybe they knew. How do you guys feel about this? About Xbox raising their prices on everything? They also said that they will have, starting this holiday season, we also expect to adjust the pricing of some of our new first party games to, guess what, $79.99. So there's that. So how we feel about Xbox raising all their prices? Give me your thoughts. What do you think? How we feeling?
I just feel like if the market keeps going up, it's going to outprice itself.
right.
Can't let it.
We'll all just be playing the free to play games.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, and Game Pass or whatever, but I mean, eventually that's going to go up too. Again, I'm sure here soon.
So right now,
I mean, yeah, I mean, like you
Yeah.
said, it's probably mostly due to tariff and that sort of thing. And that's still something that's being worked out every day. You know what I mean? It's still kind of like
Yeah.
they don't know what it's going to be and when it's going to
Yeah.
start. And,
the markets are
So-
kind of volatile because there's too much uncertainty in the.
right. So,
Mhm.
I mean, for
Right.
them to announce pricing increases now, I mean, is kind of, I feel like, unless they got like some kind of inside intel, like why are you increasing prices if nothing's increased in prices yet? You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, this is weird because I mean Nintendo's console is, some would say, and I might say, about right. Um, kinda in some aspects. But I mean, right now, also according to Forbes, it says as it stands, this will make a digital Xbox Series X cost 550,
Hmm.
which is $150 more than the current PS5 Slim at $400.
It's fifty
So,
dollars more than I paid for my, you know, Series X with a disc drive.
so right
You know,
now, this makes
Yeah.
the
base
standard
model
PS5 cheaper than any Xbox right now on the market. Um, I don't know if this is just Microsoft's
sure
way of saying we
Sony's
don't really
living
give a fuck about our consoles anymore.
right.
I don't know. Do you
Just
guys? Do you
buy the Game
guys?
Pass. I mean, they've always said
Guys?
like, you
Yeah,
know, this is an
yeah,
Xbox, that's an Xbox. I mean, so
yeah.
maybe they just don't really, it's like
Do you
they know
guys?
people
Do you guys
people are gonna
anticipate
buy it
Sony to raise their prices?
I mean, eventually, yeah, they're going to follow suit with everybody else.
for
Mhm.
sure.
Do you
Sony's
think
not
they'll
gonna miss
raise
out on
the?
a dollar.
Do you think they'll raise the price of the PS5 console
I
itself?
mean, I mean, if the tariffs go in and or keep,
Yeah.
getting talked into place, then everything's gonna go up, I guess.
Mhm.
But I mean, I don't see why Sony would, opt out of more money. That's not their style.
Well, I got an update for you guys. So, a few weeks after, this is also on Forbes. A few weeks after Xbox said it was raising prices on its hardware, significantly
Yes.
due to the slate of tariffs. Um, Sony had their quarterly earnings report. A lot of people were kind of wondering what was going to happen here.
Mhm.
It basically said this was from the Sony's chief financial officer, Lin Tao. He said, in terms of the tariffs, we are not just simply calculating the simple tariffs to come up with 100 billion yen, but are thinking about the
Okay.
current available information and looking at the market trend. We may pass the price and also shipment allocation to the person buying it, is what they mean by that. So we are
Okay.
taking different measures and managing to come up with 100 billion yen. 100 billion yen, for those who don't know, is $500 million in America. Passing the price is essentially passing on to us, the consumer. So I would imagine, because the tariffs right now, the president dropped the tariffs on China from 145 to 30%. I mean, that's not high, but still high. Gonna, you know, still do something with their production, right? So, um, I guess we'll see. I don't know what that's gonna look like.
Right.
Um, According to Forbes, here's what they estimate. The PS5 Slim Digital will go from 449 to 550. The PS5 Slim with the disc will go up to $600 from 500. And the PS5 Pro could probably go up to $800 to $900. And you're looking at, if it's $900, you're probably going to pay about $1,000. And who the fuck's going to do that, right?
Not me.
Somebody
Right.
probably will. Because the thing that sucks about gamers is gamers don't know when to actually push back. That's gonna be my problem. I've talked to I'm on Threads. It's @_Brian Daniels. If you want to follow me on there, I talk a lot about everything on there. But I've gotten into it with people that defend Nintendo's price hikes, and I'm like, but why? Like, why do you want? Like, do you want things? No, it's because they need to be able to pay their devs. Dude, Nintendo's a billion. Do you know how many that is, by the way? That's a lot of zeros. $1 billion company. They're not having issues paying their employees, okay? Like, they're not. They're not. I assure you, they're not. So to use that excuse is a stupid one. For me, it's kind of like Josh said earlier. You're gonna price out people. I know people have given me the excuse of, oh, but Brian, video games is a luxury. No, video games is supposed to be a hobby. Um, it shouldn't have to be something that the average person can't enjoy, right? Especially the newer stuff.
Right.
Now we know that the console is going to cost a lot. But outside of that, the game shouldn't be like insanely overpriced. So, do you guys to kind of close out the show because we're getting to an hour? Do you guys think that the stars are kind of aligning for a video game crash to happen? You
Yeah,
guys, you do.
yeah.
Why do you think that, Josh? Tell the
I
folks
just
why you think that's going to happen.
I feel like we're at this point where just kind of like we were talking about earlier with the Switch and people being upset that they're talking about brick and consoles. It's everyone's at the point where we're so used to just having the internet to share software that it's games are going to get too expensive for people to buy, so they're going to be like, why would I do that if I can just pirate it? And it's going to start happening bigger than it is now.
Yeah.
Just because it's because games are going to become a luxury, so it's I think they're going to eat itself. The industry is for a while. It's going to be weird. It's going to be an awkward time.
It's going to be weird. What do you think? What do you think, Bryce? What do you think you think we're headed towards another video game crash? What do you think the industry is looking like as it's rolling towards this these prices
Well,
going up and these weird
know,
decisions being made?
as the video game community and scene and everything grows, as it's been doing since its, birth, it's just been growing and growing, and
Yeah.
more and more people are into it. And we're seeing movies based and shows based off video games now that are better than, a lot of the Hollywood stuff that we get. So the industry is going to keep growing. The more it grows, the more every community within gaming grows, including the modders and the hackers and the pirators. So there's just going to be more and more of them. And so Nintendo probably sees that. They have analysts all day running numbers and foreseeing things. And I imagine that they see, as gaming grows, then that pirating number grows, and they're probably trying to get a head start on it, before it gets out of control even more.
Right.
Because it's really not under control at all. I think that as the bigger companies get greedier and want to charge more, and these games aren't cheap to make, some of these AAA titles, but a lot of that money is going towards the publisher, or the rather than the developer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The developers are on a salary, the publisher takes all the profits, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So as that continues to happen, people obviously will get pissed off. The modding and pirating will grow. So what I see is a lot of the AAA titles, the big budget games, we'll start to see sales decline a lot, and more indie games will start to flood the scene. Games that are cheap to make, that don't have a boss above them, that are cutting costs and taking profits and laying you off. So I think that's going to be where, everything kind of goes back into the pool of, how it all formed, you know what I mean? And go from there again. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily seeing it like dying off, but I think the AAA titles are going to see a big shift in their profit.
I agree. I think,
and it might not be anytime soon. It could be another 10 years or so.
Yeah. I think the industry is kind of eating itself alive, because the thing about it is we're seeing a problem. There's two problems. The industry is getting more greedy, and gamers are giving up, pushing back more and more. I think gamers are allowing themselves to be okay with things probably should not be okay with. And what sucks is that the industry only gets away with it when its audience lets them get away with it. And we see this happen all the time, like in Madden. They pump those out every year, and it's the same thing, right? Like they do a few touch ups and barely anything new.
A roster update, which you can just do through a patch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and they sell it for $60.
Yeah. WWE 2K. How much do we spend on the deluxe edition? Because you and I went in halfsies on it.
Yeah.
And what was it, 120?
Yeah.
And
Now, I will
honestly,
say with that game, I feel like I've gotten more out of it though, because I play tons of shit in that game, different shit in that game.
I really haven't done anything with it at all because I
Mhm.
had so much put into 2K24, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like, oh man, I don't have Macho Man, Slim Jim version anymore. Well, that sucks, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, that is weird that they don't carry over
They
some
just
of those
want you
same
to spend
characters.
that money again.
Yeah. And when we see this, like time and time again, and gamers will just never put their foot down. They won't put their money where their mouth is. And I think a lot of it has to do with fear of missing out. Their friends are enjoying it. They're like, oh man, I kind of want to enjoy this. This is cool. And all that.
Especially this day with,
Yeah.
all the live streamers and content creators, like with gaming,
Mhm.
like it's always about the next hot game. And,
Yeah.
you got to be on it if you want to get those hit, what I mean, whatever the new
Like, I
game
know
is,
with us,
Oblivion remake and what, what I mean, like
yeah,
now it's like people aren't probably looking up a lot of Oblivion remake videos, what I mean, but that day, that week that it hit, everybody's like, oh shit, Oblivion, what I mean?
yeah,
It's always just about that news spark, and then
yeah,
everybody go checks it out, and if it catches, then people will continue. But
yeah. I think for me,
Right.
it's this is going to probably make us as gamers maybe a little bit more careful with our money and what we put towards.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to start putting these games at 80, which let's be real, in America, that's $95, right?
Yeah.
So, depending on where you live, we get to $90 games. That's $100. You might as well say it's $100. Right. To me, it's like, well, I have a big backlog. I don't think I'll be bored anytime soon. I just won't play every new game that comes out.
right,
And if it's on
Okay.
Game Pass, all right, cool, I have it.
I mean, I still haven't gotten Baldur's Gate because I'm like, I'm not paying $70 for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so worth it though.
Right, but I'm gonna get
It's
half
so
off
good.
at least through reward points or whatever.
Yeah, just wait. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do that. But I think that's the thing too is gamers need to kind of wait. The one thing that sucks about Nintendo, and this is what makes it really bad with their high prices, they don't ever lower their prices. Like I
Right.
went into it was a Target the other day, and they still have fucking Mario Odyssey for $60. I'm like, that game was like a launch title. How the hell is it still $60, dog?
Right.
They just don't lower
yeah.
their price. They don't.
Someone's on drugs. That's how.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for episode 110 of The Next Level. Thank you so much for listening to our show. And we hope that you guys enjoyed hearing us talking all about what's been going on with the video game industry. Feels good to be back.
Yeah.
We will be releasing episodes every week now, again. And we do hope you guys come out for PopCon, 27th through the 29th. Come see us that Sunday at 11 a.m. 29th. We'll be there and wearing our Sunday best. And we hope you enjoyed our show. And if you're listening on Spotify, we do have you can leave comments. So listen to us on Spotify. Let us know. What do you think about the current state of the video game industry? How do you feel about it? How do you feel about Xbox going up in prices on their consoles and their games? How do you feel about Nintendo? How do you feel about Nintendo having the ability to brick your console? How do you feel? Do you think Sony's going to raise their price? Let us know all of that down in the comments below. But no matter where you listen to us at, whether it's there, Out Podcast, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, and more, we appreciate you all the same. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week. Another brand new episode. Until then, see ya.
All right, sayonara.
Peace.